My sister told me I was the reason our family had fallen apart. Dad said things were better before I came back, but by the time the evening arrived, 23 missed calls and a voicemail made everything truly collapse. My name is Daniel and I'm 28. For most of my life, I thought families were supposed to be safe places, the kind of home you could always return to, no matter what happened outside. I believed that if life ever broke apart, at least my family would be there to hold me together. But when I finally came back home after years away, I discovered that the people you expect to catch you sometimes choose to let you fall instead. The first day I arrived, I stepped into the living room carrying my bags, hoping for smiles or at least some kind of welcome. What I received instead was a silence so cold it felt like a wall between us. My sister looked at me as though I were a stranger who didn't belong. Then she spoke words that cut me deeper than any blade could. "You are the reason our family was broken." I froze, staring at her, my heart racing. She hadn't said it as a joke or in anger that fades away. No, she said it as though it was a truth she had carried for years, a truth she'd been waiting to finally spill. Hearing that from my sister, the same girl I grew up with, the one I protected and shared secrets of childhood with, shattered something inside me. I wanted to defend myself, to scream that I wasn't the cause of our family's pain, but my voice betrayed me. I swallowed the hurt and tried to act strong. As if that weren't enough, my father added his own words. He looked at me with eyes heavy with disappointment and said, "Life was better before you came back." In that instant, I felt like a guest who had overstayed his welcome, like my own father would rather I had stayed away forever. Do you know what it feels like when the man you spent your life trying to impress tells you your absence was better than your presence? It breaks something inside you that can never be repaired in the same way again. That night, I lay in my room staring at the ceiling, their words echoing in my mind. "You are the reason our family was broken. Life was better before you returned." Over and over again, until the tears I tried to hold back slipped out. I wanted so badly to believe they were wrong, that I wasn't the villain in their story. But the more I replayed their voices, the more I wondered if maybe they were right. Maybe I really was the problem. What I didn't realize was that before the night ended, everything would change. Because sometimes, the same family that calls you a burden ends up exposing their own secrets without meaning to. And by the time my phone displayed 23 missed calls and one voicemail, the blame they placed on me no longer carried the same weight. The next morning, I woke with swollen eyes and a heavy heart. I heard my family moving around the house, their voices quiet, their laughter casual, as though nothing had happened the night before. But for me, everything was different. I felt like a stranger in the place that was supposed to be my home. I didn't even want to go downstairs, but hunger forced me to. When I sat at the breakfast table, nobody met my eyes. My sister scrolled on her phone, my father hid behind the newspaper, and my mother tried to pretend things were normal by asking if I wanted more tea. I smiled weakly, though inside I was breaking. The day dragged on. I tried to distract myself, wandering the neighborhood, sitting at the park where I once played as a child. Memories flooded back, happy ones, warm ones, yet they felt like they belonged to someone else. The boy who once laughed with his sister and ran into his father's arms after school was gone. All that remained was a man who no longer knew where he belonged. By evening, I was back in my room, trying to drown my thoughts in music. That's when my phone buzzed. I ignored it. Then it buzzed again, and again. At first, I assumed it was a friend checking in, but when I finally looked, my heart stopped. It was my sister, and not just once. She had called 5 times, then 6, then 7. Soon, the screen showed 10 missed calls, then 15, then 23. Confused and uneasy, I opened the voicemail. My hands trembled as I pressed play, unsure of what I'd hear. Her voice filled the room, not cold or cruel like before, but broken, panicked, shaking. She was crying so hard I could barely make out the words. But when I did, my blood ran cold. She repeated over and over, "Daniel, please come home. Please, I'm sorry. Something happened. Please, we need you here." I sat frozen, crushed under the weight of her plea. Just hours earlier, she told me I was the reason our family was broken, that my return made everything worse. Now she begged me to come back, her voice desperate, like I was the only one she could depend on. The same sister who had pushed me away was now clinging to me tighter than ever. I rushed to the house, questions spinning in my head. What could have happened to turn everything so fast? When I stepped inside, the atmosphere had changed completely. The laughter was gone. The coldness vanished. Now there was only fear, chaos. My father sat slumped on the couch, his head buried in his hands. My mother paced in the kitchen, sobbing, and my sister, the one who had broken me just yesterday, ran into my arms and collapsed. Her body shook against mine as she whispered, "I didn't mean what I said yesterday. I was angry. I was wrong. But please, you have to stay. We need you. We can't do this without you." That was the moment I realized something. Family can be cruel. They can place blame you don't deserve. They can hurl words that cut deeper than any knife. But when life crumbles, when the ground cracks beneath them, they still reach for the one person they know won't let them fall. And somehow that person was me. I stood taller then. Their words still hurt, but now I saw the truth. I wasn't the one who broke our family. If anything, I was the one holding the pieces together, even when they didn't see it. Sometimes, strength isn't about loudness or anger. It's quietly staying when everyone else pushes you away. So as I sat there listening to that final voicemail, something shifted inside me. My sister's voice, once sharp and cruel, now shook with fear. She begged me to come back, saying without me, the family had truly fallen apart. She apologized, saying she hadn't meant the words she had thrown at me before, but I could hear the cracks in her voice, the desperation that comes only when someone realizes they've lost what they once took for granted. Then, my father's voice followed in another message, low and trembling. He admitted he regretted his words, that he hadn't meant it when he said life was better before I returned. He confessed his anger and bitterness had blinded him, but words, once spoken, cannot be taken back. They were already carved into me. For years, I had felt like an outsider in my own home. That night, they confirmed my fear. As the voicemail ended, I finally realized something I should have known all along. Sometimes, the family you're born into isn't the family you deserve. I had spent years chasing their approval, trying to fix the cracks in a house that was already broken beyond repair. But in that moment, I understood the truth. I wasn't the reason things had shattered. I was simply the mirror reflecting the fractures they refused to see. I set my phone down, breathed deep, and for the first time in years, I felt free. I walked away from the place I once called home, leaving behind the accusations, the guilt, the pain. They could call me the reason. They could call me the cause. But deep inside, I knew the truth. They had already fallen apart long before I came back. I wasn't the reason they broke. I was only the one brave enough to finally walk away. That night, as the calls kept coming, I made a promise to myself I would build a life no one could tear down. A life where my worth wasn't decided by voices that once called me a burden. Because sometimes, walking away isn't weakness. Sometimes, walking away is the strongest thing you can do. Like and subscribe for more stories.